Live from Rapid City, Post 22 Baseball is on the air. We are almost to a close of pool play. Still 2 days to go, including tonight and day 4 of pool play for the 43rd Annual Firecracker Tournament presented by Camping World. Ends tonight with a matchup between the Premier West Cardinals out of Denver, Colorado, and your Post 22 Hardhats. With that being said, we say good evening and we welcome you inside our broadcast booth, Rudy's Corner here at Floyd Fitzgerald Stadium. This is Mark Benetti alongside you in the broadcast booth here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and as always, stream live on the internet on Hardhats-TV. Last night was exhilarating, unbelievable, inconceivable, nerve-wracking, insert synonym here. The Hardhats somehow pulled off a game that when you look at the box score, it looks like they shouldn't have come out victorious. 19 free base runners to the tune of 3 errors, 9 walks, and 7 hit batsmen. And the Hardhats still found a way to walk off against Wayne Newton, post 346 from Terre Haute, Indiana. A final score 13-12 after 9 innings of pure chaos. The game went almost 3.5 hours last night. And Post 22, with the thrilling victory, remains the final undefeated team in pool play here at the tournament. Let's recap the day's action before we get into tonight's matchup here. Earlier today, Wayne Newton, post 346, avenged last night's loss with a win against Rocky Mountain this morning. 8-6 was the final score, and then Missoula, Montana got their first win of the entire tournament. The Mavericks defeating the Merced Volunteers out of Merced, California by a 10-5 score. So, before tonight's game tonight, here are the standings as follows. Post 22 still the last undefeated team with a 3-0 record in pool play. Terre Haute follows with a 3-1 record behind them in second place. Rocky Mountain at a dead even 2-2 through pool play, while Merced, California and the Missoula Mavericks both have 1-3 records, and Premier West sits at the bottom at 1-2. If the Hardhats defeat Premier West tonight, then we are guaranteed a championship rematch on the 4th of July at 5 o'clock between the Hardhats and Wayne Newton, post 346, which I know that Wayne Newton's probably chomping at the bit for a rematch, and the Hardhats are looking to solidify in that rematch that last night's win wasn't a fluke. So this could be some very interesting competition moving forward in these last 3 days of the tournament. Premier West, again, they come in with a 1-2 record. They lost yesterday in a nail-biter to Merced, California by a 9-8 score. And prior to that, defeated Rocky Mountain in a matchup of the Rocky Mountain State, 6-3. That game was supposed to be played on Saturday. Instead, it got moved to yesterday. And rain was obviously a factor in that, so they got that game taken care of. That was a 7-inning game, by the way, between Premier West and Rocky Mountain. So that was supposed to be a 9-inning game. Rain postponed it to the next day so the Hardhats in Merced, California could get their game in with little factor of the elements. The elements ended up playing a factor anyway. The Hardhats won the game. It was shortened by rain. In 6.5 innings, they had the lead at 8-5, and the umpires decided to call it. So now we're left with what could have been with those last 2.5 innings of regulation potentially. And then Premier West started off the tournament taking on Wayne Newton, post 346, and they lost 9-6. So Wayne Newton, when you look at their statistics across the board in this tournament, 9 runs in game 1, 10 runs in game 2, 12 runs last night against the Hardhats in game 3, and then 8 in game 4. It's absolutely incredible that they were able to put up that much offense in this tournament. Post 22 set to take on Premier West, a longtime rival from Denver, Colorado. They've been playing each other at least since I've been broadcasting Post 22 baseball, and I'm in my 4th season of that. The matchups have been close. They have been entertaining. The very first game I ever called between Post 22 and Premier West, Matt Vickers and Brandon Susi combined for a no-hitter. That was pretty cool 4 games into my Post 22 career to see that. So that was a great way to start off this rivalry for me, at least, watching it from afar. Well, they are announcing the starting lineup, so we should probably do the same before we kick it to break. So let's start off with the Premier West Cardinals, who are batting in the top halves of our 9 innings of regulation tonight. Leading off is number 5, Lance Kelly. He'll serve as the shortstop. Batting second is number 1, Otto Jones. He's the backstopper and catcher. Batting third, number 16, Tanner Garner, playing out at second base. And in the cleanup position, for Premier West, is number 2, Cole Stevens, he's patrolling right field. Batting fifth is number 44, Parker Dorrance. He's at first base. Batting sixth is number 4, Josh Maestas. He is patrolling left field. Batting seventh is number 6, Vince LeConte. He's in the hot corner at third base. Batting eighth is number 3, Matt Verdugo. He's the designated hitter tonight for Premier West. And rounding out the batting order in the ninth spot for the visitors is number 12, Marcus Burton, and he's patrolling center field. On the mound is number 99, Reed Johnson, and he will take on the post-22 Hardhats lineup as follows in the bottom halves of our 9 innings of regulation tonight. Leading off for the Hardhats is number 13, Connor King. He's patrolling center field. Batting second is number 21, Matt Hegre. He's in the hot corner at third base. Batting third, number 22, Cooper Bowman out at shortstop. And in the cleanup position is number 23, Jack Sorensen, and he is rotated back to the designated hitter role. Batting fifth is number 30, Jace Caldwell, rotating back to the first base position. Batting sixth is number 15, Zach Sumption. He's patrolling right field. Batting seventh is number 18, Alex Weaver. He's patrolling left field, and he'll get his first start of the Firecracker Tournament after making his debut to these festivities last night. Batting eighth is number 25, Ryan Schmidt. He's the backstopper and catcher. And rounding out the batting order in the ninth spot for the Hardhats is number 12, Mason Messenger, and he is at second base. On the mound tonight for post 22 is Branson Keel. Keel on the season for the Hardhats comes in for just his 6th appearance of the season and his second by virtue of his start. He has a 2-1 record under his belt and 17 innings of work to his credit, 15 strikeouts to 10 walks, and here's the most amazing thing about him. He's only allowed 4 runs on 10 hits in his 17 innings. Only 1 of the runs is earned. So his ERA is a nanoscopic even, 0.412. on the season. Post 22 will be looking for him to be just as efficient on the mound and give this team a chance to go 4-0 and guarantee themselves a rematch against Wayne Newton post 346 in the Firecracker Championship, played at 5 o'clock on the 4th of July. Premier West and post 22, they have been playing each other head-to-head for quite some time. It should be interesting to see both of these rivals get right back to it against each other. These are their first matchups of the season this year, and this is all they're slated to play against each other with as well. Well, folks, that's going to do it for our pregame festivities. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have the presentation of the colors, the performance of the United States National Anthem, a special ceremonial first pitch. We're all slated for this 4th day of pool play to close of the 2018 Firecracker Tournament presented by Camping World, between Premier West and Post 22. Stick around. You're listening to the official radio home of Post 22 Hardhats baseball here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. All set now for our ceremonial first pitch and the actual first pitch of the ball game to follow in just a few moments here from Floyd Fitzgerald Stadium. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM. Post 22 concluding the fourth out of 5 days of pool play tonight. Their matchup coming against the longtime rival from the Rocky Mountain State. That would be the Premier West Cardinals out of Denver, Colorado. And ever since I've been calling Post 22, which I know has only been 4 seasons, nothing remotely compared to the tenure of my former broadcast partner, Tom Rudebush. But watching Premier West over the years, it's been a tough game. It's always been a tough win. There's never been anything easy about playing against this team. This is a premier club from Colorado, and Post 22 is looking to continue their rivalry head-to-head against this crew and hope for a big win. We'll recap the standings here of the 2018 Firecracker Tournament presented by Camping World, the 43rd running of this tournament here in Rapid City. Post 22 is at the top of the leaderboard as the last undefeated team at 3-0. They are looking to go 4-0 with their win against Premier West tonight if they should secure it after 9 innings. Terre Haute, Indiana, Wayne Newton Post 346 has a 3-1 record. They won their matchup early today against the Rocky Mountain Lobos from Fort Collins with an 8-6 final. Speaking of Rocky Mountain, with the loss to Wayne Newton, they go even at 500, 2-2. And then Merced, California and the Missoula Mavericks, both at 1-3. Premier West at the bottom of the standings with a win and 2 losses to their credit. If the Hardhats pull off the win, not only will there be a 3-way tie for 4th, 5th, and 6th, but the Hardhats would guarantee themselves a rematch in the final of the Firecracker on the 4th of July at 5 o'clock against Wayne Newton in what would be a 7-inning showdown for the Firecracker title. Last night's win was miraculous, inconceivable, unreal. You had to see it to believe it, really, or you had to be listening in real time to believe what exactly was happening. It was unbelievable to watch how everything transpired the way it did. The Hardhats at one point were down 8-2 in the ballgame. The pitching staff had probably their worst game of the season, surrendering 9 walks, 7 hit batsmen, and then there were 3 errors in the field on top of that. 19 free base runners. And somehow they pulled off the walk-off, were resilient, they came back, and they ended up getting the win 13-12 thanks to Alex Weaver's bases loaded, 2-out RBI single to end the ball game and keep the Hardhats perfect. It's so crazy to see over the years that I've been calling the Firecracker, there's always one moment that'll stand out throughout the entirety of the tournament for the Hardhats. 3 years ago, my second Firecracker, it was Matt Vickers' solo shot over the wall against Millard South. It was the Friday night undefeated showdown of the tournament in pool play. The year prior, Millard South had defeated the Hardhats in Regional Sunday in the championship. For a chance to go to the American Legion World Series, the Hardhats exacted their revenge in the Firecracker and got a 2-0 win over Millard South in what was just an unbelievable performance from top to bottom on the Hardhats roster. And then last year it was an extra innings showdown against Rocky Mountain. Timmy Paris hit a walk-off bomb in the bottom of the 10th over the left field wall to give the Hardhats the win at the end of the contest. Last night's matchup, that's on par with both of those performances. So it's so funny to see how there's always that one matchup that'll stand out no matter what in this tournament. It is very special. And last night will live on for quite some time. We have finished our ceremonial first pitch, and now the Hardhats will huddle up one last time with the head coach Kelvin Torvey, and they will, as they always do, sprint to their respective defensive positions. Post 22 again looking to go 4-0 after tonight's play in the Firecracker tournament. Earlier today, Wayne Newton Post 346 from Terre Haute, Indiana, defeated Rocky Mountain Lobos by an 8-6 score. The Missoula Mavericks a 10-5 win over the Merced Volunteers out of Merced, California. Missoula Mavericks obviously out of Missoula, Montana. 10-5 the score for the Mavericks, and for the Mavericks, that's their first win of the tournament. They now stand at 1-3. Branson Keel takes his place on the mound. He is the starting pitcher tonight for the Hardhats. Keel comes into this matchup for Post 22 with 17 innings of work under his belt. Tonight will be his 6th appearance of the season and his 2nd by virtue of a start. He has a 2-1 record to his credit, 15 strikeouts to 10 walks on the year. He's only allowed 4 runs on 10 hits in his 17 innings, but only one of those 4 runs was earned. So his ERA is nanoscopic at 0.412 coming into this matchup. Branson Keel will take on the top three in the Premier West order, and Lance Kelly, the shortstop, Otto Jones, the catcher, and Tanner Garner, the second baseman. Defensive alignment for the Hard Hats sees Branson Keel and his right arm on the mound, paired up with the catcher, Ryan Schmidt. At first is Jace Caldwell. At second, Mason Messenger. At shortstop is Cooper Bowman. And in the hot corner at third is Matt Heggery. Left to right in the outfield, Alex Weaver, Connor King, and Zach Sumption. Time now for the amateur meteorology report. It is currently 81 degrees outside, crystal clear blue skies. I don't even see a cloud in the air anywhere. The sun's shining down. It looks absolutely gorgeous out there. That is, as we say in the business, baseball weather. We get more of that tonight. It's a nice change of pace from the rain we had the first 2 days of the tournament, which was just absurd. It caused some of the tournament schedule to get thrown out of whack. It caused the Hard Hats game to end early, even though they did have the lead in what was considered an official game by the American Legion at 6.5 innings with the home team on top. Good to see clear skies here for the remainder of this tournament, at least for the next 2 nights as well. We've got the fireworks tomorrow, the Firecracker Championship on the 4th. Fun times are to be had by all. Branson Keel looks into the lefty, Lance Kelly, the shortstop, and his first pitch is a fastball low for ball 1. And we have officially begun tonight's matchup at 7:09 tonight. Lance Kelly, the leadoff man, a left-handed batter, now looks at a first pitch called, a first strike. 1-1 now the count here to Kelly. Tonight's umpires are Rick Sebo on the base path and Burt Reddy calling the balls and strikes behind home plate. Here's the 1-1 pitch. And that rides high at the letters of Kelly. It'll be 2 balls and a strike from Branson Keel to the lefty. First mismatch of the ball game for Keel on the mound. Righty pumps his 2-1 pitch. Missed outside, a fastball, and it's 3 balls and a strike to Kelly. Branson Keel has to show that he can exhibit control because Hard Hats pitching last night did not have much, if at all, control on the mound. Again, 9 walks, 7 hit batsmen. Keel has to establish that he can be called upon to restore order to the staff. 3-1 pitch. Swung on, ball's lined as short by a diving Cooper Bowman, and in the left for a base hit. Lance Kelly leads off the ball game with a single, and that'll bring up the catcher, Otto Jones. With the leadoff man on and nobody out, here in the top of a scoreless first inning. Otto Jones, a right-handed batter, the catcher of the Premier West Cardinals, steps in. Keel will now deliver from the stretch. Take a quick look over to first to Kelly. Your first pitch, swung on and missed. 0-1 the count here to Otto Jones. I had the voice of the Spearfish Sasquatch, Adam Birch, on the call with me last night, and the biggest thing he stressed that the Hard Hats need to exhibit moving forward is that first pitch strike. You saw Branson Keel come with it against Jones here. He's in the driver's seat. 0-1 pitch is a fastball that missed low and away, and the count will leave it up at 1-1. Start off with that first pitch strike, and now the batter is chasing you. You're not chasing the batter. Even though it's still early in the count, you've got that foothold established that you're already ahead. From the stretch again, Keel looks to first. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That ball's high and inside. 2 balls and a strike now to Jones. The name of Branson Keel's game is velocity. He can absolutely chuck a baseball, mid to high 80s. Very young. 2-1 pitch. Misses low. Nice block by Ryan Schmidt behind home plate. Now the count goes to 3 balls and a strike. Otto Jones, a right-handed batter, the catcher of the Premier West Cardinals, steps in. Keel will now deliver from the stretch. Keel looks over to first. Take a quick look over to first to Kelly. Your first pitch, swung on and missed. 0-1 the count here to Otto Jones. I had the voice of the Spearfish Sasquatch, Adam Birch, on the call with me last night, and the biggest thing he stressed that the Hard Hats need to exhibit moving forward is that first pitch strike. You saw Branson Keel come with it against Jones here. He's in the driver's seat. 0-1 pitch is a fastball that missed low and away, and the count will leave it up at 1-1. Start off with that first pitch strike, and now the batter is chasing you. You're not chasing the batter. Even though it's still early in the count, you've got that foothold established that you're already ahead.
Here comes the payoff
From the stretch again, Keel looks to first.
High in the air, shallow.
Here's the 1-1 pitch.
Second base.
That ball's high and inside. 2 balls and a strike now to Jones.
One down for the Hardhats on defense. Still
The name of Branson Keel's game is velocity. He can absolutely chuck a baseball, mid to high 80s. Very young. 2-1 pitch. Misses low. Nice block by Ryan Schmidt behind home plate. Now the count goes to 3 balls and a strike.
Right-handed batter against the righty and Keel. Kelly still takes his lead off of first.
Otto Jones, a right-handed batter. The catcher of the Premier West Cardinals, steps in.
First pitch, runner goes. It's a high fastball for ball 1.
Keel will now deliver from the stretch.
Keel looks over to first. Lance Kelly steals.
Take a quick look over to first at Kelly.
Want to know the count here to Garner, now with a man in scoring position.
Your first pitch, swung on and missed. 0-1 the count here to Otto Jones. I had the voice of the Spearfish Sasquatch, Adam Birch, on the call with me last night, and the biggest thing he stressed that the Hardhats need to exhibit moving forward is that first pitch strike. You saw Branson Keel come with it against Jones here. He's in the driver's seat. 0-1 pitch is a fastball that missed low and away, and the count will leave it up at 1-1. Start off with that first pitch strike, and now the batter is chasing you. You're not chasing the batter. Even though it's still early in the count, you've got that foothold established that you're already ahead.
Here comes the payoff.
From the stretch again, Keel looks to first.
High in the air, shallow.
Here's the 1-1 pitch.
Base.
That ball's high and inside. 2 balls and a strike now to Jones.
Ball called strike. The knees of Tanner Garner, and it's 2-1 now from Keel. One down for the Hardhats on defense.
The name of Branson Keel's game is velocity. He can absolutely chuck a baseball, mid to high 80s. Very young. 2-1 pitch. Misses low. Nice block by Ryan Schmidt behind home plate. Now the count goes to 3 balls and a strike.
Right-handed batter against the righty and Keel. Kelly still takes his lead off of first.
Otto Jones, a right-handed batter. The catcher of the Premier West Cardinals, steps in.
First pitch, runner goes. It's a high fastball for ball 1.
Keel will now deliver from the stretch.
Keel looks over to first. Lance Kelly steals.
Take a quick look over to first at Kelly.
Want to know the count here to Garner, now with a man in scoring position.
Your first pitch, swung on and missed. 0-1 the count here to Otto Jones. I had the voice of the Spearfish Sasquatch, Adam Birch, on the call with me last night, and the biggest thing he stressed that the Hardhats need to exhibit moving forward is that first pitch strike. You saw Branson Keel come with it against Jones here. He's in the driver's seat. 0-1 pitch is a fastball that missed low and away, and the count will leave it up at 1-1. Start off with that first pitch strike, and now the batter is chasing you. You're not chasing the batter. Even though it's still early in the count, you've got that foothold established that you're already ahead.
Here comes the payoff.
From the stretch again, Keel looks to first.
High in the air, shallow.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. That ball's high and inside. 2 balls and a strike now to Jones.
Ball called strike. The knees of Tanner Garner, and it's 2-1 now from Keel. One down for the Hardhats on defense.
The name of Branson Keel's game is velocity. He can absolutely chuck a baseball, mid to high 80s. Very young. 2-1 pitch. Misses low. Nice block by Ryan Schmidt behind home plate. Now the count goes to 3 balls and a strike.
Right-handed batter against the righty and Keel. Kelly still takes his lead off of first.
Otto Jones, a right-handed batter. The catcher of the Premier West Cardinals, steps in.
First pitch, runner goes. It's a high fastball for ball 1.
Keel will now deliver from the stretch.
Keel looks over to first. Lance Kelly steals.
Take a quick look over to first at Kelly.
Want to know the count here to Garner, now with a man in scoring position.
Your first pitch, swung on and missed. 0-1 the count here to Otto Jones. I had the voice of the Spearfish Sasquatch, Adam Birch, on the call with me last night, and the biggest thing he stressed that the Hardhats need to exhibit moving forward is that first pitch strike. You saw Branson Keel come with it against Jones here. He's in the driver's seat. 0-1 pitch is a fastball that missed low and away, and the count will leave it up at 1-1. Start off with that first pitch strike, and now the batter is chasing you. You're not chasing the batter. Even though it's still early in the count, you've got that foothold established that you're already ahead. Here comes the payoff. On the stretch again, Keel looks to first.
High in the air, shallow.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. That ball's high and inside. 2 balls and a strike now to Jones.
Ball called strike. The knees of Tanner Garner, and it's 2-1 now from Keel. One down for the Hardhats on defense.
The name of Branson Keel's game is velocity. He can absolutely chuck a baseball, mid to high 80s. Very young. 2-1 pitch. Misses low. Nice block by Ryan Schmidt behind home plate. Now the count goes to 3 balls and a
right-handed batter against the righty and Keel. Kelly still takes his lead off of first.
Otto
Jones right in the batter. The catcher of the West Cardinals steps in.
First pitch, runner goes. It's a high fastball for ball one.
Uriel now delivered from the stretch.
Looks over to first. Lance Kelly steals
And quick look over to first and Kelly.
time. 1-0 the count here to Garner. Now with a man in scoring position.
Your first pitch. Swing and a miss.
Half of the first.
Pitch is a fastball.
0-1 the count here to Otto Jones. I had the Braves in his fastball. John Birch on the call for me last night. And the biggest thing he stressed that the Hardhats need to exhibit moving forward is that first pitch strike. I saw Lance and Bob commented against Jones here. Count goes one in the driver's seat.
Fastball.
First pitch is a fastball that missed milling away, and the count will leave it up at 1-1. This had that first pitch strike, and now the batter is chasing you. You're not chasing the batter.
Count goes full.
Even though it's still early in the count, you've got that foothold established, but you're already ahead.
Kelly leads off his
Here
second
comes the
again.
pass to the pitch again. So it looks also high in the air, shallow. Here's a 1-1 pitch.
West.
Fastball's high and inside. 2 balls and a strike now to Jones.
Ball called strike. The knees of Tanner Garner, and it's 2-1 now from Keel.
One down for the Hardhats on defense. The main thing to execute this game is velocity. Tanner Garner, this can absolutely chuck a baseball, mid to high 80s.
First walk.
Very young. 2-1 pitch. Misses well. Nice bat by Ryan Schmidt behind home plate. Now the count goes to 2-1 in a right-handed batter.
The second, so we won't see the 2-1.
Against the righty and Keel.
Right field.
Kelly still takes his lead off for first. First pitch, runner goes. It's a high fastball for ball one. From the stretch, looks over to first.
Lance Kelly steals
Time.
1-0 the count here to Garner. Now the man in scoring position.
Half of the first. Jones.
Count goes full.
Kelly lays off his second again. High in the air, shallow.
Ball called strike. The knees of Tanner Garner, and it's 2-1 now from Keel.
One down for the Hardhats on defense. Tanner Garner, this can absolutely chuck a baseball, mid to high 80s.
The second, so we won't see the 2-1.
Against the righty and Keel. Garner still takes his lead off for first. Scoring position.
strikes now the count here to Matt Hegre. Looking for his second hit of the firecracker and his first today. Runner goes, 1-2 pitches outside, and the throw to second is in time. And Connor King caught stealing, and that'll be the first out of the inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes here to Hegre, and an empty base path for him now. Reed Johnson looking for 2 outs and just 2 pitches. Here's the 2-2. That's low and away, and the count goes full to Hegre. Post 22, even if they don't get any runs in this inning, they have to do what Premier West did in the top of the first and just get pitches. And the pitch is swung on and missed, strike 3. That'll be his first K for out number 2. And brings up Cooper Bowman with an empty base path. So Bowman comes to the batter's box to raucous applause. There are 2 outs. You're in the bottom half of a scoreless first inning. And Bowman steps in for his first matchup against the righty in Reed Johnson. Bowman also a righty himself. Here's his first pitch. Misses low and away, 1-0. Ball and no strikes the count to the hard hat shortstop, and the 1-0 pitch. Swung on, ball's pushed to second. Stop is made on the play by Garner, and his throw to first is in time by a hair. My goodness, Bowman can't believe it. Neither can Coach Ewing over at first base. And that ends the bottom half of the first inning. The Hard Hats go down on offense in 1-2-3 fashion, which, as we all know, means no runs, hits, errors, or anybody left on base. We have played 1 frame of baseball, and the Hard Hats and Premier West are still knotted up at zeros. We'll take a step aside and come right back in 30 seconds with the top of the second here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Post 22 Hard Hats Baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, by Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. Well, the Hard Hats and Premier West are still scoreless through 1 frame of play. Only 1 hit between both teams. That belongs to Premier West. Post 22, unable to get anything going in that bottom half of the first. Reed Johnson got out of it in 14 pitches. So Connor King getting caught stealing second on the base path turned into a big out. It shortened the inning considerably. 7, 8, 9 due up for Premier West here in the top of the second. Vince LeConte, the third baseman. Matt Verdugo, the designated hitter. Marcus Burton, the center fielder. And the first pitch to LeConte swung on and missed. 0-1. Top of the second inning just beginning here at the Fitz. And here is the 0-1 pitch. That misses low and away, and the count evens at a ball and a strike. Branson Keel still on the mound for the Hard Hats. Came in with 33 pitches into this inning. He needs a quick, efficient one if he hopes to go any distance in this game. 1-1 hits him. And that's the first hit batsman of the ball game for Hard Hats pitching. Leadoff man on again, and that's going to bring up Matt Verdugo, the designated hitter. Verdugo steps in, right-handed batter against Branson Keel. Keel takes a look over at first at the runner LeConte. And the first pitch. Fastball called strike at the knees. 0-1 to Verdugo. LeConte leads off of first. No outs here in the top of the second. And the 0-1. Called strike, an ice-breaking pitch. Inside 0-2. Nice little fastball with some movement on it. No balls, 2 strikes to count. Keel looking for his third K in his last 4 batters. And the 0-2 pitch. Caught him looking, strike 3. And there's the first out of the top half of the second. That'll bring up the 9-hole hitter, Marcus Burton, the center fielder. Burton, a right-handed batter. The man on first and 1 out here in the top of the second. First pitch is fouled off. He showed the bunt, and it went foul. 0-1. Keel from the stretch, 0-1 pitch. Called, strike. At the belt, it's 0-2 now to Burton. Keel looks over to first. LeConte takes his lead. And here comes the 0-2 pitch. Just missed low and inside, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes to Burton. Keel looking for his 4th strikeout of the start. It would be his 4th in the last 5. And time's called by Burton before he can get the throw off. Keel optimally, I think, would rather the double play, just get out of this in 10 pitches. His next one will be number 10. And here's the 1-2. Caught him looking, strike 3. And there's another backwards K and 4 strikeouts in the last 5 batters for Keel. 2 down, still with a man on first, and that's going to bring us to Lance Kelly back at the top of the order. The lefty has the only hit of the ball game between both of these teams. He singled to kick off the entire contest. And his first pitch misses low, 1-0. Ball and 0 strikes the count here to Kelly. And Keel's 1-0. Swung on, ball's chopped foul, first base side. And the count evens at a ball and a strike. It started off fair. Must have hit a rock or something, because that took quite a ricochet into foul territory. Ball and a strike the count here to Lance Kelly. The only man in this ball game that has a hit. He is 1 for 1. Top of the second, scoreless with 2 outs and a man on first. And the 1-1 pitch is high and away. 2 balls and a strike. Keel had 13 pitches on the inning, but he's at 46 in the game. Here comes number 47, 2-1. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air to left center field. That ball has some distance on it. King is traveling towards the warning track, makes the catch. And that is going to end the frame. Connor King had to cover quite the range to make that catch, and that will end the top half of the second. No runs, no hits, no errors for Premier West, and a man left on first. We played an inning and a half, and the Cardinals and the Hardhats are still deadlocked at 0. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the bottom of the second and the heart of the order due up for the Hardhats here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Post 22 back to the offensive side of the game as we now go to the bottom half of the second inning. Jack Sorensen, the DH, Chase Caldwell, the first baseman, Zach Sumption, the right fielder, scheduled to hit in that order for Post 22. Thanks again so much for joining us for tonight's action, folks. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and as always, stream live on the internet on Hardhats-TV. This is day 4 of pool play of the 2018 Firecracker Tournament presented by Camping World, the 43rd edition of this tournament. Coach Dave Plouffe organized the tournament in 1975 with 6 teams coincidentally participating, and that's what we have in this field right now. 9-inning games just because it's 6 teams. If there were 8 teams, we'd be playing 7-inning games. But we have 6, so they wanted to get a couple more innings in. Everybody gets a chance. So they went 9. However, the championship and placement games will be determined in 7-inning showdowns. Jack Sorensen looks at a first pitch ball from Reed Johnson, low and inside. 1-0 the count to Sorensen. Sorensen on the season batting .368. And in the firecracker is batting .231. He has struck out 5 times. Next pitch, a called strike. And it's 1-1 now to Sorensen. 1-1 the count to the Hardhats DH. Reed Johnson, a full windup. Here's a 1-1. Pitch is check swung on, and it's a called strike. Sorensen did pull back, but it was strike 2. 1-2 the count here to the Hardhats DH. Sorensen and Caldwell flip-flopping on DH and first these last couple games. 1-2 pitch is swung on, and it's hit to short. Kelly can't get the backhand. It's off his glove, and that'll be an E6 as Sorensen is safe. Kelly tried that backhand stab, and I get it's easier to put the ball in position for you to exchange and throw, but sometimes squaring up to the ball, simplifying the game and squaring up to the ball to ensure it doesn't squeak by you is the better option. So Sorensen safe with the E6. That'll bring up Jace Caldwell. Johnson from the stretch. First pitch is high and inside, almost hit him in the bucket. 1-0 the count. Jace Caldwell, the second best batting average on the team behind Cooper Bowman with .407 is his average. Bowman, by the way, extended his with a 4-for-4 performance last night to a whopping .515 on the season. Caldwell in the tournament batting a dead even .300. Next pitch swung on, ball's hit high in the air to right field, and Cole Stevens is back. The ball's over his head. It's going to go all the way to the warning track. Sorensen turns on the afterburners. He rounds third. He's coming in to score. It's an RBI double for Jace Caldwell here in the bottom of the second, and the Hardhats strike first. They have a 1-0 lead. Jace Caldwell pushed that ball opposite field. And on the year, collects his 38th run batted in. And the Hardhats strike first, no outs and a man in scoring position, and now Zach Sumption coming up. Sumption batting .302 coming into the matchup. Batting a whopping .556 in the firecracker. And his first pitch. Swung on, ball's fouled just over our press box towards the official scorer, Thad Caldwell. No balls and a strike to count here to Sumption. He looked like he was going to snag it, though. It's all good. He nods in approval. No balls and a strike to count here to Sumption. Johnson looks to second at Caldwell and then steps off the rubber, so we'll reset for a brief moment. No balls and a strike to count. Caldwell being checked at second. Everybody backs off. Johnson's 0-1 pitch is upstairs. Ball and a strike. Sumption in this tournament is 5 for 9 with 5 singles. He's scored 4 times. He's knocked in 5 runs. He's batting .750 when there's a runner on second or third in the tournament. 1-1 pitch way outside. 2-1 now to Sumption. Caldwell stands on second with the RBI double and nobody out here in the bottom of the second. No longer scoreless. It's a 1-0 Hardhats lead. Johnson settles from the stretch, and here comes the 2-1. Swung on, ball's lined into left field. That drops into the gap for a base hit. Caldwell rounds third. He's going to come in to score. Sumption is going to hang on at first. An RBI single for Zach Sumption. Back-to-back RBI hits for the Hardhats, and the lead is now 2-0 over Premier West. Caldwell scoring from second, and Sumption takes his place after the single on first. That'll bring up Alex Weaver, who was the walk-off hero last night. Weaver came in off the bench as a defensive substitute, and he went 1 for 2 with the game-winning walk-off RBI single and a walk as well. Check to first, not there in time. Still yet to see a first pitch for Alex Weaver. Weaver coming off an injury last night, which made his appearance as a substitute and as a hitter late that much more impressive. Batting .309 on the season, coming in to his first start of the Firecracker. Check swings at his first pitch, and it's too low for ball one. 1-0 to Weaver with Sumption on first. 2-0 the Hardhats lead. Both hits coming in this frame. Reed Johnson, the tall righty, quick pick to first, not in time. And Sumption's back. Pretty deceptive pickoff for the tall righty there. Johnson has to be at least 6'3". He is huge. Here's the 1-0. That's too far inside. 2 balls, no strikes to count here to Weaver. The height of Reed Johnson's being debated right now in the press box. I think I heard a guess of 6'11" thrown out. The bottom line is he is a very tall gentleman. That's what it all comes down to at the end of the day. Quick visit from Otto Jones behind home plate, and now it looks like we're back and ready to go. 2 balls, no strikes to Weaver with a man on first. No one out here in the bottom of the second. And the 2-0 misses outside. 3-0 now to Weaver. Hardhats have a 2-0 lead. Back-to-back RBI hits. A double from Jace Caldwell and a single from Zach Sumption to put themselves ahead. 3-0 from Johnson. Called strike right at the knees of Weaver. It's 3-1. That makes the fact that Branson Keel was able to get out of that first inning jam that much more important. Bases loaded, and he got back-to-back strikeouts to end it. Locked himself in. He went from a 33-pitch first inning to a 14-pitch second inning. Johnson's already matched his total from the first inning now, and he still has yet to record an out in this second. 3-1. Too far inside to Weaver. That's ball 4. So he draws a walk. That'll move Sumption to scoring position at second. And now we're going to get a mound visit from Premier West Coaching. The Premier West Cardinals coaching staff, the manager is Derek Hines, and the assistant coach is Brandon Barringer, so I'd imagine that is Coach Barringer out there right now to have a word with his entire infield and his tall starter wearing the 99. 99, a very iconic number in my business in the hockey world. That is a number universally retired by the National Hockey League for the great one, Wayne Gretzky. I got a chance to watch Wayne Gretzky when he played for the New York Rangers right at the end of his career. Grew up a New York Rangers fan my whole life in New York, and I got to watch him play at Madison Square Garden, and that was a very special moment. Reed Johnson back to it after the conference. Weaver on first, Sumption on second. Here comes Ryan Schmidt. No outs, and the first pitch way outside. 1-0. Schmidt comes into the game batting .333 on the season. And in the tournament for the Hardhats is batting .500. Here's his 1-0 pitch. And that's a called strike. That must have just been below the letters. 1-1. Schmidt with runners in scoring positions batting .500 as well. Here comes the 1-1. And that misses low and away. 2 balls and a strike now to the Hardhat backstopper. With Weaver 90 feet to his right on first, and across the diamond from him on second, Zach Sumption. 2 balls and a strike. And the 2-1. Pitch is swung on. Ball's hit by the third baseman and into left for a base hit. Sumption gets the green light. He rounds third. He's going to come in to score. And the Hardhats now have a 3-0 lead on a ball that should have been fielded by Vince LeConte at third. They're going to rule it an RBI single. Sumption scores. Weaver to second. And now here comes Mason Messenger, the 9-hole hitter. And by the way, we still have no outs here. First and second. Messenger, the righty, batting .294. Coming into this matchup, steps in. Johnson from the stretch. First pitch is high and away. Ball 1. Messenger and the Firecrackers batting .250. 2 for 8 in 11 plate appearances. Struck out once. He's walked twice. He's had a pair of singles. Here's his 1-0. Pitch is turned on high in the air to left field. That ball has the legs. It has the distance. And it has left the ballpark. Mason Messenger, a 3-run blast for his first home run of the season. And the Hardhats, within one swing, have doubled their lead. It's 6-0. He absolutely turned on that ball and launched it. My goodness, what a hit. Mason Messenger, his first home run of the season, first home run at the varsity level, and it's 6-0 Hardhats on 4 hits in this inning, and we still have yet to see an out recorded. Empty base path, back to the top of the order we go to Connor King. King walked in his first plate appearance back in the bottom of the first. He shows bunt and then pulls back, almost got hit. And he looks at ball one inside. 1-0 to Connor King. No one out. The Hardhats have put up a 6-spot. 6-0 lead. Next pitch, called strike, right at the belt of King. And it's 1-1. Ball and a strike the count here to King. Johnson a full windup, and he deals the 1-1. And that's way outside. 2 balls and a strike now to the only lefty in the lineup for Post 22. Well, the entire lineup is due up to hit now in this inning. And now the next pitch. That not hit him? No, it just missed him. 3 balls and a strike now to King. The Hardhats went through the first 6. E6 to Sorensen, RBI double to Caldwell, RBI single to Sumption, walk to Weaver, RBI single to Schmidt, 3-run blast to Messenger. The whole lineup is scheduled to hit in this inning as the next pitch comes into King as ball 4 inside. So now here comes Matt Hegre. Reed Johnson now at 40 pitches. He has thrown 26 in this inning compared to the 14 he threw in the first. Tale of 2 completely different innings for both teams, for that matter. Hegre has the only strikeout issued by Johnson. Shows bunt, pops it up, and the ball drops, while Otto Jones tries to chase it behind home plate. 0-1 the count to Hegre. Struck out swinging on a full count back in the bottom of the first. That was a 1-2-3 inning for the Hardhats. They have 6 countered with 6 runs on 4 hits and an error charged to Premier West in this frame. And 2 walks as well. Johnson checks back to first, and King gets back safely. Hegre on the season batting .295. Coming into this matchup. That'll take a little dip after the strikeout. 0-1 pitch. That's over his head. Count evens at 1-1. Premier West has some action now in the bullpen. Just in case Johnson can't get out of what has seemed like a marathon of the bottom half of the second. And here's the 1-1 pitch. Pitch is swung on, hit high in the air to left field. It is high, it is far, and it is gone! A 2-run blast for Matt Hegre. And the Hardhats lead is now 8-0 on their second home run of the inning. That one was hit over the scoreboard. Another ball absolutely tattooed by the Hardhats. And Hegre gets his 3rd jack of the season. Still no outs. Here in the bottom of the second, it's an 8-0 Hardhats lead. And now here comes Cooper Bowman with an empty base path. And Jack Sorensen, Jace Caldwell are both guaranteed a second chance in this inning. Still no outs. You need 3 to complete the inning, so if the next guys go down 1, 2, 3, Bowman gets 1 shot. Sorensen and Caldwell will see the batter's box twice in this frame. Bowman's 0 for 1. He grounded out to second to end a 1-2-3 bottom of the first, and he check swings and fouls his first pitch. 0-1. the Hardhats were in jeopardy in the top of the first with the bases loaded and 1 out. Branson Keel got out of it. A 1-2-3 inning for the Hardhats in the bottom half of that frame. Nothing relinquished in the top of the second. Keel hit a batter and then struck out the next 2 and induced a fly out. And now the Hardhats have batted through the lineup, still have no outs against them, and a whopping 8-0 lead. Here is the 1-1. That misses low and away. 2 balls and a strike now to Cooper Bowman. Everybody that's come up in this inning has come around to score. 2-1. Called strike. Fastball at the belt of Bowman. It's 2-2. Reed Johnson, the tall righty, has thrown 33 pitches in this frame. He is on par now with Branson Keel's pitch count. 2-2. Misses low and away, and the count goes full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Cooper Bowman, still with no one out. And Johnson's 3-2 pitch. Low and away, ball 4. Cooper Bowman walks, and that'll bring up Jack Sorensen. And it looks like that will be the end of Reed Johnson's start. Well, the Hardhats successfully bat through the lineup. The gentleman that started off this inning, Jack Sorensen, is now scheduled to hit. And Johnson will be pulled from the ball game, and they will go left-handed out of the bullpen. The manager, Derek Hines, on the mound, speaking to his young club. Gives his lefty a pat and says, go to work, let's end this. I'm going to go to the computer and say, let's take 30 seconds to breathe, recap everything you need to know, and set the table up for the new pitcher in just a few moments here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Coaching staff has now elected for Premier West to change out the pitcher, Reed Johnson, done after 1+ innings. He has allowed 8 runs on 5 hits. Of those 8 runs, only 1 of them was unearned. He struck out 1 in the start as well. He walked 4. And he threw 49 pitches. On top of that, he allowed 2 home runs. This was a tale of 2 completely different frames, folks. Again, at the top of the first, the Hardhats on defense had the bases loaded and 1 out. Branson Keel was all over the zone. He had walked 2 and let up a hit. Strikes out the last 2, gets out of the jam. Hardhats don't play at anything. Then Keel hits his first batter in the top of the second, immediately strikes out the next 2 and induces a fly out. And now the Hardhats come back to Jack Sorensen, who started off the inning, and he looks at ball 1. Sorensen reached on an error to kick off all of it. And his 1-0 misses low. It's blocked, though, by Jones, and Bowman stays put at first. 1-1 now the count with Bowman on first. No one out. This is the 10th batter of the inning. Bottom of the second, the Hardhats an 8-0 lead over Premier West. Armbrust, the lefty, turned on high in the air to left. It has the legs, it has the distance. You gotta be kidding me. It is out of the ballpark. The 3rd multi-run home run of the frame. Jack Sorensen leaves the yard, and the Hardhats have a 10-0 lead on his 2nd home run of the season. The 3rd home run of the inning. Unbelievable. And now Jace Caldwell comes up with a chance to keep it going. Another empty base path for the Hardhats. And his first pitch is upstairs 1-0. Mason Messenger, his first home run of the season. Matt Haggerty, his third. Jack Sorensen, his second. All in this inning. We still don't have any outs. Caldwell looks at ball 2 high and outside. 2-0 to the Hardhat first baseman, who's 1 for 1 with a ribby double. And yes, it came earlier in this inning. Here's the 2-0. Pitch is turned on high in the air to left field. That ball has the legs, it has the distance, and it has left the ballpark. It's the 4th home run of the inning for Post 22, and now it's 11-0. Jace Caldwell has joined the party. This is madness. Wow. 4 home runs in the inning. No outs. And an 11-0 Hardhats lead. Jace Caldwell, his 3rd home run of the season. And now Zach Sumption comes up. And his first pitch is hit high in the air to center field. That ball has some distance underneath it. Marcus Burton finally registers the first out of the frame with a catch. It took 12 batters to get the first out. And now here comes Alex Weaver. 1 for 1. Or excuse me, no plate appearance, no at-bats yet. He has 1 plate appearance, and it's a walk. He came around to score. My goodness. In the immortal words of Ron Burgundy, that escalated quickly. 4 home runs in the inning. And the Hardhats have an 11-0 lead. First pitch to Weaver is lined into left field. That's going to drop for a base hit, and it goes all the way to the corner. Weaver turns on his jets. He rounds first, then he heads to second and gets a 1-out double for his first hit of the ball game. And that is going to bring up Ryan Schmidt, the catcher, who's 1 for 1 with an RBI single. Hardhats with an 11-0 lead. Schmidt looks into the lefty Armbrust. And the first pitch. Swung on, ball's hit right off of Armbrust. He snags it on the mound, throw it to first in time. What a great defensive play that was for Armbrust. It hit right off of him, and he still had the wherewithal with the ball suspended in midair to snag it. 1-3 in the book. That'll move Weaver over to third. 2 outs, and that brings up Mason Messenger, who got this crowd jacked up with his first home run of the season, and as a Hardhat, a 3-run bomb. And he looks at a first pitch ball, 1-0. Here's the 1-0 to Messenger. And that's a called strike at his belt, 1-1. Armbrust at 10 pitches, Johnson at 49. Johnson threw 35 in this inning, so on 45 pitches, the Hardhats notched 11 runs. And the next pitch to Messenger, also a called strike. 1-2. Armbrust, the lefty, came in, and he took quite a beating. The first 2 gentlemen he saw left the yard. 1-2 pitch, and that skips low. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to Messenger. 2 outs with a man on third here in the bottom of the second. The Hardhats, 11 runs on 8 hits, with an error charged to Premier West. And here is the 2-2. Swung on, and the ball is hit to short, and in the air, caught by Kelly, and that will finally end the inning. 11 runs, 8 hits, 1 error charged to the Cardinals, a man stranded on third. We've played 2 innings of baseball, and the Hardhats have a dominating 11-0 lead over Premier West. We'll take a step aside, and when we come back, Branson Keel's game on the mound just got that much more comfortable. He'll take 2, 3, and 4 in the order to start off our third frame. We'll be right back here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Fans, don't forget our annual Dining on the Diamond free dinner next Monday, a week from tonight. It's a free dinner for all of our season ticket holders and sponsors. It's a pasta dinner, and your favorite Post 22 player gets to serve you your meal. Come on out. It will be a blast. What was a blast was that bottom half of the second, because the Hardhats racked up 4 blasts of their own. Mason Messenger, a 3-run bomb. Matt Heggery, a 2-run bomb. Jack Sorensen, a 2-run bomb 2 batters later. And then right after Sorensen, a solo jack for Jace Caldwell. Part of an 11-run, 8-hit inning to give the Hardhats a dominating 11-0 lead right now over the Premier West Cardinals. Game 4 of the 2018 Firecracker Tournament's pool play stage, where the Hardhats are trying to go 4-0 and guarantee themselves a championship rematch against Wayne Newton, post 346 from Terre Haute, Indiana. Otto Jones, Tanner Garner, Cole Stevens slated to hit in this inning against Branson Keel, and Keel's first pitch is upstairs, ball 1 on Jones. Jones popped out to Mason Messenger at second. And here's the 1-0. That almost hits him again. 2-0 from Keel. 2 balls, no strikes the count. Keel has to get back to settling his game down. 2 balls and no strikes. And the pitch. Called strike. Fastball at the belt of Jones. It's 2-1. The 3 gentlemen slated to hit in this inning are a combined 0 for 1 with 2 walks. Here is the 2-1. High and inside. 3 balls and a strike to count here to Keel. Keel has struck out 4 of his last 6. He's behind 3-1 right now in this count. Locked it down the last 2 innings. Let's see if he can lock it down here. 3-1 is fouled off the paraphernalia of the gentleman behind home plate. And now the count goes full to Jones. Again, Keel has struck out 4 out of his last 6. If the next pitch is strike 3, it would be 5 out of the last 7 that he has rung up. 11-0 the Hardhats lead as we start off the top of the 3rd. Keel looking for strikeout number 5. And here comes his payoff pitch. And that somehow missed for ball 4. And it's a leadoff walk issued to Otto Jones. That's going to bring up the second baseman, Tanner Garner. Garner also walked. That was back in the top of the 1st. He was on second when the Cardinals were stranded with the bases loaded. And Keel fanned the last 2 swinging to end the threat. Here's the first pitch. Swung on. Ball's hit high in the air to center. Connor King is underneath it, battling the sun, and he makes the catch for out number 1. Here in the top of the 3rd. Otto Jones back to first. That'll bring up the lefty cleanup hitter, Cole Stevens. Stevens also walked in the 1st inning. Post 22 up double digits on the Cardinals. 11-0. Keel trying to keep it that way on the scoreboard. First pitch, called strike. Fastball right at the knees of Stevens. It's 0-1. No balls and a strike the count here to Stevens. And here's the 0-1. Fastball high and away, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. If the double play doesn't end the inning, Parker Dorrance, the first baseman's on deck. He's 0 for 1 with the K. 1-1 pitch to Stevens. Swung on and missed. That ball had some late break to it. A nice off-speed pitch from Keel. 1-2 now the count to Stevens, as Keel is looking for strikeout number 5 in the start. Keel from the stretch looks to first. Here's the 1-2. Swung on, check swung foul right into the Hardhats dugout. And the count will hold at a ball and 2 strikes. Keel still looking for K number 5. 1-2 to Stevens. And he checks to first. It's not there in time. And back safely to first he goes. Otto Jones led off with a walk. He is standing on first. 1-2 pitch. High and away, 2-2. Stevens walked on a 3-1 count, and it's good to see that Kiel has found some kind of semblance of control. And here's the 2-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. And there's strikeout number 5 for Kiel in the second out of the inning. Man on first, that brings up Parker Dorrance. Dorrance struck out with the bases loaded with 1 out in the top of the first. Josh Maestas followed up with another strikeout to end the threat. Kiel from the stretch, and time called. And now we're back to it. First pitch, too far inside. 1-0 to Dorrance. If Dorrance is the last out, the Hardhats will go back to the top of the order to King, Hegre, and Bowman. If not, Josh Maestas is on deck. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Too far inside, almost hit him. 2-0. To Dorrance. Struck out swinging on a full count back in the first. Here's a 2-0. Swung on, ball's lined into right field, and that'll drop for a base hit. Sumption in to field it, and taking second is Jones. So it's a 2-out single for Dorrance. The inning will keep going, and Josh Maestas is now up. Maestas 0 for 1 with the strikeout. And now a quick visit from Schmidt to Kiel on the mound. Branson Kiel at 63, soon to be 64 pitches. He had 33 in the first and 14 in the second. He's at 16 right now in the frame. Kiel looks to both first and second. And his first pitch. Swung on and missed. 0-1 the count to Maestas. Vince LeConte on deck if we get that far. 2 outs, top of the third. Hardhats up 11-0 with men on first and second. 0-1 pitch. Skips low. Schmidt gets the block. Everybody hangs tight, and it's 1-1 now to Maestas. Kiel takes his time. Here's the 1-1. Called strike. Nice pitch on the inside corner at the knees. 1-2. Now to the Premier West left fielder. Kiel looking for that 6th one. And the 1-2 swung on and missed. Strike 3, and that'll end it. Branson Kiel 6 strikeouts, and he gets out of the inning once again unscathed. No runs on a hit, no errors charged to the Hardhats. 2 men left on the base path, 1 in scoring position. 2.5 innings of baseball have been completed, and Post 22 looks to really blow open what is still an 11-0 lead. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the bottom of the third here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. For those Rapid City Rush fans tuning into tonight's broadcast, The Rush just announced another signing today. The sizable forward Shaquille Marasti is now back in the fold for next year. Shaq came into the lineup and had 7 points in 8 games, along with a +5 rating for the Rush before an injury ended his season. Very excited to get back to the Rush. Had a chance to speak with him last week to tape our next upcoming podcast episode, What's the Rush, hosted by both myself and the head coach, Daniel Tatro. So you can hear more from Shaq on Friday with another special guest that maybe we'll announce him this week. We'll see. Connor King, Matt Hegre, Cooper Bowman, top of the order, slated to take on Jacob Armbrust, the left-handed pitcher for Premier West. First pitch to King, way outside, 1-0. This will be the only lefty-on-lefty matchup for the Hardhats batters. Connor King, the only lefty in the lineup. Ball and no strikes the count, and the pitch. Called, strike. 1-1. Not too much velocity coming from Armbrust, so he relies on that breaking ball a lot. Here is the 1-1. And that's a called strike at the belt of King. It's 1-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count. King has walked twice and come around to score once. And the 1-2 just fouled off, jammed him inside. And the count holds at 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes the count. And here's the pitch. High and inside, 2-2. Two balls and 2 strikes to King. And here's the pitch. Swung on, and that ball is hit high in the air to second. Garner's underneath it. He makes the catch. That'll be out number 1. Here comes Matt Hegre. Hegre 1 for 2. Struck out in the bottom of the first, but then followed it up on the third pitch he saw in the bottom of the second, crushing the ball to left center. I think it went on or over the scoreboard. That was safe to say a tattooed ball. 1 out, empty base path for him. Bottom of the third, his team up 11. First pitch is lined into left field, and that'll drop for a base hit. Hegre now 2 for 3 on the ball game. A 1 out single to his credit, and that'll bring up Cooper Bowman. With 1 on and 1 out here in the bottom of the third. Post 22, an 11-0 lead over Premier West. Bowman's 0 for 1. Ground out to second, and he walked. Armbrust looks, and his first pitch is outside, 1-0. Hegre leads off at first. Armbrust, the lefty, looks into Bowman. And here's the 1-0. And that's low and inside, 2-0 to Bowman. Two balls and no strikes. Bowman taking a couple of pitches against Armbrust. 2-0 pitch is lined high in the air to center field on the run. Able to make the catch is Marcus Burton. And that is out number 2 for the Hardhats. Well hit ball for Bowman. But Burton only needed a shade to his left, just a couple of strides. Jack Sorensen now comes up. He has homered off of Armbrust, so this will be the second time he's facing the reliever. He absolutely drilled it over the left field wall. First pitch, breaking ball outside, 1-0. Sorensen has Hegre on first with 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. The Hardhats up 11-0 on Premier West. Here's the 1-0. Breaking ball again, high and outside, 2-0. 2 balls and no strikes to Jack Sorensen. And here is the 2-0. And that's outside again. 3 balls, no strikes to the Hardhat DH. Hegre takes his lead off of first. Sorensen a pitch away from a free pass. And here's the 3-0. And that's low and away. Ball 4. That's a 4-pitch walk for Sorensen.
Comes with 2 outs, and it moves Hegre to scoring position. Jones and Armbrust have a quick conversation, and that'll bring up Jace Caldwell, who has also homered off of Armbrust. Caldwell 2 for 2, ribby double, a solo home run, 2 runs scored, 2 runs knocked in. He could potentially add to this lead if he swings it just right. He's already homered off of Armbrust. Here's the first pitch. Breaking ball high and away, 1-0. Armbrust hasn't really been able to find much of the zone here in this inning. 1-0 pitch. Swung on, and that ball's hit high in the air to left center field. Burton's on the track, on the run. The ball's over his head, and it goes all the way to the wall. Sorensen gets the green light. He rounds third. The throw comes into short, and the throw home is in time, and that's going to end the inning. Post 22 did get a run out of it, though, but Sorensen could not get a second. So it's a run on a pair of hits. No errors charged to Premier West, and 1 man left on the base path. Jace Caldwell gets the RBI, but the Hardhats now have a 12-0 lead as we get ready to transition to the 4th inning. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the 4th here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Post 22 Hardhats baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, by Shields, Qdoba, Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. No disasters for the Hardhats to clean up in this one. If anything, it's on the Premier West bench. They trail the Hardhats 12-0. As we go into the top of the 4th, we've completed 1/3 of regulation. Numbers across the board for the Hardhats clearly in the driver's seat. It's 12 runs on 10 hits with no errors in the field. And for Premier West, no runs on a pair of hits with 1 blemish on defense. Thanks again so much for joining us tonight for action in the 2018 Firecracker Tournament presented by Camping World. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM. We're also streamed live on the internet on Hardhats-TV. 7, 8, and 9 scheduled to hit for Premier West in the top of the 4th here. Starting off with Vince LeConte, the 3rd baseman, and his first pitch is fouled to the mesh, 0-1. LeConte, Verdugo, and Burton slated to hit. They are a combined 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts and a hit by pitch. LeConte was hit by the pitch. Next pitch is low and away, and the count evens at 1-1 now for the Premier West 3rd baseman. 1 ball, 1 strike the count, and here it comes. Swung on, ball's chopped to short. Bowman gets the backhand stop, settles the ball, throw, first is wide. And Schmidt was there to back it up, throw to first again, in time! And somehow the Hardhats pull it off. What a backup by Ryan Schmidt, who came from behind the plate to back up the first baseman, Jack Sorensen. And the Hardhats get the out, but it'll be an E6 against Cooper Bowman for the throw. That'll be a 2-3 along with an E6. 1 down, and that's going to bring up Matt Verdugo. Verdugo, the DH, 0 for 1 with a backwards K. And here comes the first pitch to Keel, or from Keel, excuse me, and that's inside, 1-0. Verdugo struck out on 3 pitches the last time he was up. That was after LeConte was hit by a pitch. 2 strikeouts in a row, then a fly out. Next pitch is over his head. 2 balls, no strikes from Keel to Verdugo. Keel approaching 75 pitches. He's at 72 right now. Here in the top of the 4th with 1 out.
Next pitch, a called strike on the inside corner, and it's 2-1. Post 22 up 12-0 against Premier West. And the 2-1 is too far inside. 3 balls and a strike. Verdugo steps in. Keel full windup, and the 3-1 is low and away, ball 4. And so Keel issues a walk. With 1 out, that'll bring up Marcus Burton, the center fielder. Four walks for Keel and a hit by pitch compared to 6 strikeouts on the start. And now 75 pitches, soon to be 76. Here it comes against Marcus Burton. Called strike, fastball right at his knees. 0-1. Burton also struck out looking in the top half of the second. He was the 4th of 6 Keel strikeouts. Next pitch is upstairs over his head. 1-0. Excuse me, 1-1. My apologies. 1 ball, 1 strike. Keel from the stretch. And now time is called. Keel from the stretch again. And here comes the 1-1. Bunt is showed. Bunt is dropped. Keel comes to field it. Sets his feet. Rips it to first. Not in time. A bunt single for Marcus Burton. Nice heads-up play there for Premier West. Comes with 1 out, and it moves Verdugo to scoring position. Men on first and second. That brings up the lefty and Lance Kelly. Credit Burton. He's trying to get his team sparked. Nice bunt single right past the mound. No one saw it coming, and despite the best efforts of Keel, he launched it. But nothing came of it. First pitch to Kelly. Called strike. Fastball low and inside corner at the knees. It's 0-1. Kelly, the first of 2 lefties Keel has faced in the lineup, is 1 for 2 with a single and a fly out to center. Then on first and second for him. Here's the 0-1. Missed just outside. Count evens at a ball and a strike. One ball, 1 strike. And the pitch. Swung on, ball's ripped into right field. That'll drop for a base hit. Sumption comes in to field it, and he gets it right to his cutoff in Jace Caldwell. And now, bases are loaded with 1 out. Kelly gets his 2nd hit of the ball game. Verdugo to third, Burton to second. That's going to bring up Otto Jones, who's 0 for 1 with a pop out to second and a walk. Premier West starting to string some hits together here and take advantage of free pass. Walk and 2 hits with 1 out here in the top of the 4th. Hardhats up 12-0. First pitch, called strike. Otto Jones looking behind an 0-1 count. Oh, 0-1 to Jones, every base occupied. And the pitch. Called strike, fastball at the knees, and he's behind 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes. And Otto Jones steps right in. Righty on righty matchup here. Keel looking for K number 7. Here is the 0-2. Swung on, ball's fouled. That goes over catch 22 and somewhere on the concourse. And a flock of children go to field it. No balls and 2 strikes to count. Keel on the mound, steps right back to it. Second 0-2 to Jones. Swung on, ball's pushed to first. Caldwell to stop, tags the bag, and he's going to hang on to it, and a run's going to come in to score. A 3 unassisted RBI ground out to Otto Jones, and Premier West is on the board. It's 12-1. Men on first and second second and third with 2 outs here in the top half of the 4th. That's going to bring up Tanner Garner. Garner is 0 for 1 with a walk and a fly out to center. Keel from the stretch. First pitch. Called strike. A nice fastball right at the belt. 0-1. Keel has 6 strikeouts. He's walked 4 and he's hit a batter in his start. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on. That ball's hit high in the air to left. It has some legs. It has some distance, and it has gone off the wall. 2 runs are going to come in to score. A 2-run, 2-out RBI single for Tanner Garner. And Premier West is stringing some offense together. It's now 12-3. The Hardhats still lead. Kelly comes in to score, as does Burton. And now it's a man on first with 2 outs. Brings up Cole Stevens, the other lefty that Keel has to face. Keel's next pitch, by the way, will be number 88 in the start. Stevens 0 for 1 with a walk and the 5th of 6 Branson Keel strikeouts. First pitch from Keel. Called strike. Fastball right at the belt. It's 0-1. No balls and a strike to count. And Keel's 0-1. Runner goes. Pitch is low and away. Throw to second is not in time. It'll be a stolen base for Tanner Garner. 1-1 the count to Stevens with a man on second. 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. Post 22 had a 12-0 lead. It's now 12-3. 3 runs on 3 hits for Premier West in the frame. Time called by Stevens, so we've yet to see the 1-1. Keel looks to second. And here's his 1-1. That's high and away. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 out of Stevens. With Parker Dorrance on deck if we get that far. Keel from the stretch. 2-1 pitch. Just inside. 3-1. 3 balls and a strike to count to Stevens. Keel again takes his time. And here's the 3-1 pitch. It's low and away. Ball 4, and the runner took off for third. So Garner steals third once again. And Stevens draws a walk. Comes with 2 outs. Now that'll bring up Parker Dorrance with men on the corners. And 2 outs here in the top half of the 4th. Keel just has to get out of the inning. He's thrown 92 pitches. This is probably the last inning we're going to see him in. As Coach Clapperidge, the pitching coordinator of the Hardhats, talks with his young righty. Ryan Schmidt also in there, gives him a pat on the back. Post 22 had a monster 11-run bottom half of the 2nd, in which the team hit 4 home runs. It was something else. Here's the first pitch. Too far inside to Parker Dorrance. 1-0 the count. Dorrance is 1 for 2. Singled the last time he was up, but he struck out in the top of the 1st. He was the first of 6 Keel strikeouts. Here is the 1-0. Called strike. Fastball inside at the knees, and it's 1-1. And there's a play at the plate, and safe with the steal home is Tanner Garner. Hardhats were caught asleep at the switch there. And now it's 12-4 with a man on first and 2 outs. Dorrance in a 1-1 count. Nobody saw Garner coming from third. 4 runs in the inning now for Premier West. Here is the 1-1. Swung on, ball's lined into right field. That drops for a base hit. Sumption in to field it. And he gets it into Messenger, and the inning keeps going. Another 2-out single Men on first and second now, and that's going to bring us to the 9th man to bat in the inning, Josh Maestas. Maestas is 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. Keel is looking for the hat trick one-on-one against Maestas. And here's his first pitch. Swung on and missed. 0-1. 4 runs, 4 hits for Premier West. Here in the 4th. A lot of 4s there. Here's the 0-1. Just missed low and away, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. Keel at 97 pitches. Again, this is probably the last we are going to see of him. Maybe in the entire tournament, to be honest. Only 2 days left after tonight. 1-1 pitch to Maestas. Swung on, ball's ripped foul. And the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. 1-2. Keel looking for that 7th strikeout. It would be his 3rd head-to-head against Maestas, and it would end this top half of the 4th. Premier West has plated 4. Trying to come back. 1-2 pitch. Swung on, ball's pushed. Opposite field, and it just drops foul. Right field side, and the count will hold at 1-2. Maestas had some pretty tough at-bats at the start of the ball game. Struck out in the 1st, struck out in the 3rd. Both times ended the inning. He is in jeopardy of that happening again. Men on first and second for him. 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. Stevens is on second. Torrance is on first. Next pitch will be number 100 from Keel. And is 1-2. Swung on, and it's just fouled. And the count will hold once again at 1-2. Ball and 2 strikes. Keel looking to end this inning. And he deals. Swung on. Ball's hit high in the air to right field. Zach Sumption tracking underneath it. To his left, makes the catch, and he ends it. 4 runs on 4 hits with an error charged to the Hardhats. 2 men left on the base path, 1 in scoring position. We have played 3.5 innings of baseball. And Post 22 still has the lead, but now it's been cut to 12-4. We'll take a step aside and come right back after the performance of God Bless America here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. You heard it yourselves, folks. A brilliant rendition of God Bless America helps us to transition from the top half of the 4th to the bottom half of the 4th. Mark Benetti alongside you here on ESPN Rapid City, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM as Post 22 taking on the Premier West Cardinals, hosts on to a 12-4 lead. That monster 11-run bottom half of the 2nd is the difference maker in this game. Post 22 will see Zach Sumption, Alex Weaver, and Ryan Schmidt scheduled to hit in that order in this inning. Those 3 gentlemen are a combined 3 for 5 with a walk, 3 runs scored, and 2 runs batted in. Premier West had a lot of trouble with their starter, Johnson. He went 1+ inning, allowed 5 hits, 9 runs, only 8 were earned, a strikeout to 4 walks. He allowed 2 home runs as well on 49 pitches. And Jacob Armbrust came on in relief to try and end the second. And the first people to hit against him sent the ball out of the park. Drew Messer is actually coming in to pinch hit for Zach Sumption. And his first pitch is turned high in the air to left field. Maestas underneath it makes the catch. And that's good for out number 1. So Drew Messer pinch hits for Sumption. He will most likely play in the outfield when he comes back up. 1 up, 1 down for the Hardhats, and that's going to bring up Alex Weaver. 1 for 1 with a walk, a run scored, and a double in this matchup. Sumption finished the ball game, by the way, 1 for 2 with an RBI single and a run scored. First pitch from Armbrust, called strike. 0-1 the count to Weaver. No balls and a strike to count to the hard hat left fielder, and the next pitch is high and away. 1-1. And here's a 1-1 pitch. That misses low. 2-1. Not much velocity from Armbrust. So he's going to rely on his breaking pitch a decent bit. His fastball looks more like the speed of a changeup. 2-1. Pitch is swung on, hit high in the air. Foul territory, first base side. Dorrance is there, and Dorrance makes the catch for out number 2. Hardhats go down 1-2 so far. And that'll bring up the catcher, Ryan Schmidt. Schmidt is 1 for 2 with an RBI single and a run scored. He has an empty base path and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Hardhats hanging on to what is a 12-4 lead over Premier West. First pitch to Schmidt, breaking ball outside. It's 1-0. Here is the 1-0. Pitch is swung on. Ball's hit high in the air to left field. It has the legs. It has the distance. It has left the ballpark. The 5th home run of the game for the Hardhats. This one, a solo jack to Ryan Schmidt with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. And the Hardhats lead is now 13-4. A 2-out blast for Schmidt. That's the 5th home run of the ball game. And that will bring up Mason Messenger, who is also homered in this ball game. Messenger 1 for 2, a 3-run jack, and a pop out to short. And his first pitch is swung on and fouled. He got way ahead of it. 0-1. That's the thing with the Hardhats against a pitcher that doesn't really have a lot of velocity. They are trained basically against each other. So they're seeing good velocity. 80s, depending on who it is, high 80s. So anytime somebody comes and they're not throwing that, it's an adjustment. Next pitch is outside. 1-1 the count here to Messenger. 2 outs, an empty base path for him here in the bottom of the 4th, and the Hardhats have scored in 3 consecutive innings. 13-4 now the lead. Next pitch is a breaking ball high and away. 2-1 to Messenger. Armbrust from the stretch again. Here's the 2-1. Swung on, ball's turned high in the air to left. Underneath it, outside the warning track is Maestas, and he makes the catch, and that will end the inning. Well, the Hardhats get a run on a hit. That was a solo jack to Ryan Schmidt. No errors charged to Premier West, and no one left on the base path. We've played 4 innings of baseball, and the Hardhats have added a run back, 13-4. Now their lead as we head into the 5th inning. We'll take a step aside, folks, and come right back with the 5th frame. 7, 8, 9 slated to hit for Premier West here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Couple of changes to the Hard Hat lineup here on defense. Drew Messer is now playing in right field. He came into the game as a pinch hitter for Zach Sumption. On the mound for Post 22, and yes, this is true, Todd Stevens coming in for his first appearance this season on the mound. Takes over for Branson Keel, who went to 101 pitches in his start. He struck out 6, walked 5, also hit 1 batter. He allowed 4 runs, all of which were earned, on 6 hits, and he went 4 innings. Vince LeConte, Matt Verdugo, and Marcus Burton will take on Stevens, and the first pitch is swung on. Ball's hit high in the air to center field. Underneath it is Connor King, and he makes the catch for out number 1. Not a bad pitching debut for Todd Stevens. 1 pitch, 1 up, 1 down. And that will bring up Verdugo, the DH. LeConte will go to 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch. Verdugo is 0 for 1 with a backwards K, a walk, and a run scored. Righty on righty matchup. And Stevens deals. That skips low. 1-0. Ball and no strikes the count here to Verdugo, the designated hitter for Premier West. Next pitch is high and away. 2 balls, no strikes the count here to Verdugo. Empty base path for him and 1 out here in the top of the 5th. The Hard Hats are up 9. It is 13-4. Next pitch, called strike. Fastball right at his knees. It's 2-1. And here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on, ball's fouled. And just like that, it's an even 2-2 count. Stevens is a pitch away from what I would believe is going to be his first strikeout as a Hard Hat. I don't recall him pitching last year. Here is the 2-2. Just missed inside, and the count goes full. Messer taking over in right. Stevens on the mound for Keel. Here comes the payoff pitch, and that missed low and away for ball 4. So that'll be a walk issued by Stevens with 1 out. Man on first, that's going to bring up Marcus Burton, the center fielder. Burton 1 for 2 with a backwards K and a bunt single. He came around to score the last inning back in the top of the 4th. Hard Hats have a 13-4 lead. And the first pitch is a called strike. On a pitch that broke the inside part of the plate. 0-1. No balls and a strike to count. And Stevens deals. That misses low. Schmidt gets the block, and the count is now a ball and a strike to Marcus Burton. All 3 gentlemen scheduled to hit have now come to the batter's box. That means the top of the order is on deck, and Lance Kelly if we get that far. 1-1 pitch, ripped foul. 1-2 now from Stevens to Burton. The double play could end the inning. So if we get that far, the top of the order is patiently waiting. Stevens from the stretch. And time's called just before he begins his motion. So we have to wait on the 1-2. Hard Hats will send the top of the order up in the bottom half of this 5th inning when that comes. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. And that's over the head of Schmidt. It goes to the backstop. And Verdugo will take second on the wild pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count now to Burton. With a man on second. And now Schmidt's going to have a quick word with his newly minted pitcher. I would imagine it's been quite a while since Todd has pitched. He's primarily the second catcher behind Ryan Schmidt on the roster, and he's also played a little bit of left field, some of the outfield, and obviously we all know what he can do behind the plate and with his bat. This has to be uncharted territory for him as of right now. Stevens will step off the rubber, and now he comes right back to it. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count with a man on second, 1 out here in the top of the 5th. 2-2 pitch is high and away. And the count goes full to Burton. Big payoff pitch coming now for Stevens again. And the 3-2. Swung on. Ball's hit high in the air. Shallow center. Bowman from short makes the catch. And staying put at second's Verdugo. Nice pop 6 in the book. 2 down. Man still on second. And back to the top we go to Lance Kelly. He's had a pretty good evening. 2 for 3. Pair of singles and a run scored. He also made pretty good contact with a fly ball to center that ended the top half of the second. 2 outs, man on second. First pitch, misses at the letters, 1-0. Ball and 0 strikes the count here to Lance Kelly. You're in the top of the 5th with the Hardhats up 13-4. And the 1-0 is a called strike. Fastball in the outside corner, it's 1-1. And the next pitch is fouled to the left of my press box. 1-2. Now the count to Lance Kelly. Stevens still looking for that elusive K. He's had 2 two-strike counts. Both of them full counts. He walked 1, and another one he induced a pop-out. 2 outs. He's looking to end the inning on an exclamation point. And here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on, and it's just fouled. And the count will hold at 1-2. Stevens looks in to Lance Kelly, the lefty. And here is the 1-2 again. Pitch is swung on, and it's pushed opposite field into left for a base hit. They're going to give the stop sign to Verdugo, and Kelly will take his 3rd hit of the ball game. A single. Nice performance for that young man, and that'll bring us to Otto Jones, the catcher, with men on the corners and 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Todd Stevens just trying to get out of the frame. Otto Jones is 0 for 2 with an RBI ground out and a walk. Looking for his first hit. Men on the corners, and his first pitch rides upstairs, 1-0. 13-4, the Hardhats lead here in the top of the 5th. 2 outs and men 90 feet to the left and right of Jones. And the 1-0 swung on and missed. 1-1. Pitch had some late break to it down out of the zone. It's a good pitch to Jones. Here is the 1-1. Runner goes. Schmidt, throw to second, is stopped by Messenger and not taking home. Standing on third was Verdugo. It's a stolen base for Kelly. His 2nd of the game. 2 balls and a strike now, the count to Jones with 2 men in scoring position. And Stevens deals. Just missed at the letters, 3-1. Three balls and a strike the count. And Stevens deals his 3-1. And that's high and inside for ball 4, and that is his 2nd walk of the inning. This one comes with 2 outs, and it loads the bases. That's going to bring up Tanner Garner, the second baseman. Garner is 1 for 2. 2-run RBI single. 3 stolen bases. A run scored and a walk. Garner is every base occupied with 2 outs. And his first pitch is lined high in the air to center field. King is on the run, diving forward. He makes the catch. Are you kidding me, Connor King? What a play to end the inning and strand the bases loaded for a 2nd time for the Premier West Cardinals. Wow. No runs on a hit. No errors charged to the Hardhats. The bases left loaded. We've played exactly half of regulation. 4.5 innings out of 9. And the Hardhats still have a 13-4 lead over Premier West. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the bottom half of the 5th and the top of the order due up here on ESPN Rapid City and Hardhats-TV. Post 22 back to the sticks to begin the second half of this ball game. A new man on the mound as Maestas now comes on to pitch. So Maestas comes on to pitch, which means that the designated hitter, Matt Verdugo, in some way has to come into this ball game unless someone else has been substituted out. We'll have Thad Caldwell on it with his trusty binoculars. It looks like Parker Dorrance has moved to left field. And there's a lefty on first. Would not be surprised if that was Armbrust, to be honest. Or Verdugo. We'll have to see. We can't catch a license plate. Anyway, here's Connor King, and his first pitch is a called strike from Maestas. 0-1 the count. Maestas, a small right-handed pitcher. Looks like he's got some decent velocity to start. 0-1, misses way inside. Ball and a strike now the count. And it looks like Armbrust has moved over to first. So that takes the designated hitter, Verdugo, out, and it'll put Armbrust in his spot. 1-1 pitch to King. Buzzes the tower high and inside, 2-1. Armbrust then went 3 innings. And he allowed 4 runs as King turns on the next one and fouls it 2-2. He allowed 4 runs that were all earned on 6 hits. He didn't strike anyone out. And he walked 1. 2-2 from Maestas to King. And the pitch. Swung on, ball's ripped over the head of the first baseman Armbrust and into right for a base hit. King's going to hang on at first with the leadoff single. And that will now bring up Matt Hegre. Hegre on the ballgame, 2 for 3. After starting off with a strikeout in the first, he followed it up with a 2-run home run and then a single, and he came around to score twice. King on first with the leadoff single. And the first pitch is low. It's blocked by Jones, and King stays put at first. 1-0 the count to Hegre. Hardhats have a 13-4 lead. They're up by 9. If they score 6 runs in this inning, the ballgame comes to an end. We are in the 5th inning, so now run rules start to take effect. 15 after 5, 8 after 7. Next pitch to Hegre outside. It's 2-0. Connor King is the only man on the base path, and he stands on first with the leadoff single. Maestas looks over to first. And here's the 2-0. That skips low, and it goes off of Otto Jones. He lost the ball. He can't see it. And King hangs on at second. The passed ball allows him to take scoring position, and now it's 3-0 to Hegre. The big inning right now is that dominating bottom half of the second, where the Hardhats played at 11 runs. They hit 4 home runs, and in the game in total, they've hit 5. Maestas looks to second. Here's the 3-0 pitch. And that's upstairs for ball 4. So a 4-pitch walk issued to Matt Hegre. Men on first and second. And that's going to bring up Cooper Bowman. And Bowman has a real opportunity to inch the Hardhats closer to an early victory against the Cardinals. This game's been played for about an hour and 50 minutes right now. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Maestas looks around the diamond, and here's the first pitch. Pitch is swung on, ball's hit to short. Backhand stop is made. To second for 1, to first for 2, not in time. And then the ball's off track, and King's going to come home and score. And the Hardhats lead is now 14-4. on a 6-4 fielder's choice. But Bowman won't get credit for the RBI because the ball came after the throw went off. So King comes in to score. Hegre out at second. And they're going to rule that an E4, I believe. That's what they've ruled it. So 1 out with a man on first. It brings up Jack Sorensen. Sorensen's 1 for 2. Reached on an error. A 2-run blast and a walk. 1-0 his starting count. And now Otto Jones will have a quick word with Josh Maestas. For those that didn't catch the defensive substitutions, Parker Dorrance is now in left field. And Jacob Armbrust is at first. 1 ball and no strikes to Jack Sorensen. Bowman leads off for first with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. The Hardhats played 5 more runs. The ball game ends right here. 1-0 pitch. Fastball low and away, 2-0. Jack Sorensen came into this game in the tournament hitting .231. He had struck out 5 times. And in this game, he's 1 for 2 with a walk and a 2-run bomb over the left wall. 2-0 pitch. Called strike. Fastball at his knees. It's 2-1. Bowman leads off at first. As Maestas will come from the stretch. And now he steps off the rubber, and everyone will take a breath. Tomorrow's action once again begins at 11. It's the final day of pool play. Missoula Mavericks will take on Premier West at 11. Wayne Newton 3:46 against Merced, California. And then the Hardhats get the nightcap in their final group matchup against Rocky Mountain. Sorensen looks at strike 2 at the knees outside corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes now his count. Hardhats have played Rocky Mountain quite tough over the years in this tournament. Here's the 2-2. And that's low and away. Sorensen held off, a good eye, and the count goes full. Rocky Mountain stands at 500 in group play, 2-2. If the Hardhats hang on to this lead, they will be the only team at 4-0. And the check to first not there in time. Bowman's back. Hardhats are at a 3-0 record. Wayne Newton 346 out of Terre Haute, Indiana is at 3-1. Rocky Mountain dead even at 2-2. Merced and Missoula at 1-3. Premier West is at 1-2 coming into this matchup. Payoff pitch to Sorensen. Too far inside. That's ball 4, and he has walked for a second time in the ballgame. This one's a 1-out walk. And that puts men on first and second, and it's going to bring up Jace Caldwell. Caldwell batting 1,000, and he's a triple away from the cycle. RBI double, solo home run, RBI single to his credit. He is a 3-bagger away from the cycle. Bowman leads off a second. Here's the first pitch. And Caldwell looks at a strike. Off-speed pitch inside. It's 0-1. Three for 3 is Caldwell tonight. Maestas looks to second. Here's the 0-1. And that missed outside. 1-1. Nice fastball again from Maestas, showing good velocity against the Hardhats here. Jace Caldwell came into this tournament batting .300. His tournament average will skyrocket after going 3 for 3. And a feigned motion to second. They threw it to the shortstop, and if the shortstop wasn't paying attention there, that could have been catastrophic. He reacted at the last second and made the catch to his credit. That's Lance Kelly over there, but my goodness. Ball and a strike to count to Caldwell. Men on first and second, 1 out bottom of the 5th. And the next pitch is a check swing inside. He did not go. And it's 2 balls and a strike. They even deferred to the infield umpire, Rick Sebo, and Rick said, not a chance he crossed. 2 balls and a strike now to Caldwell. Hardhats are up 14-4 here in the bottom of the 5th. Maestas looks to second twice at Bowman. And here's the 2-1. Low and away. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 now, the count to Caldwell. Maestas from the stretch. And here's his 3-1 pitch. Over the head of Caldwell for ball 4. So he earns his first walk of the day with 1 out. That pushes Sorensen to second and Bowman to third. Bases loaded. And Drew Messer comes up to take on Maestas. Don't forget to check out our Dining at the Diamond event next Monday night, July 9th from 5 to 7 here at the Fitz. It's a free dinner to all of our season ticket holders and sponsors. It's a free pasta dinner, and your favorite Hard Hats get to serve you your meal. You can't say no to it. You absolutely can't. It's a pasta dinner. Why would you ever want to say no to a free pasta dinner? Of course, that's the half Italian coming out of me, but still, pasta's one of the best culinary inventions in the world. Maestas looks to Messer. 0 for 1 with a fly out to left. First pitch is too far inside. 1-0. Ball and no strikes the count here to Messer. And here's his 1-0. Called strike. Fastball outside corner. And it's 1-1 out of the new hard hat right fielder. Drew Messer on the season, still looking for his first hit. 0 for 8 in 11 plate appearances coming into this game. 1-1 pitch is fouled. 1-2 now to Drew Messer. Bases are loaded for Drew Messer with 1 out. Here in the bottom of the 5th, the Hard Hats are up 10. 14-4 is the score. If they played 5 more in this inning, the game ends. And here's the 1-2 to Messer. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. That is the first strikeout in relief for any Premier West pitcher that's come out in relief. 2 down, bases still loaded. That'll bring up Alex Weaver. He had a bases loaded situation last night, and he cashed in right up the middle for the Hard Hats. First pitch from Maestas. Called strike. Off-speed pitch inside. 0-1. No balls and a strike to Weaver. Every base occupied. 2 outs now, bottom of the 5th. Maestas stepped off the rubber. Almost looked like that could have been a balk. And here's the 0-1 pitch. And that's called strike. On a pitch on the outside corner, it's 0-2 quickly to Weaver. No balls and 2 strikes the count. And Weaver's 0-2 pitch. Swung on, ball's lined to short, and it's caught by Kelly. And that'll end the bottom half of the 5th. Well, the Hard Hats end up getting a run on the power of a hit. No errors, 1 error was charged to Premier West. And the bases were left loaded. We played 5 innings of baseball, and the Hard Hats are still up 10. 14-4 is their lead. We'll take a step aside and come right back with the top of the 6th. In just a few moments with Todd Stevens back on the mound here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. Todd Stevens deals a first pitch strike to his newest adversary. It is not Cole Stevens. It is Matt Phillips coming in to pinch hit. And his 0-1 pitch is high and away. 1-1. Stevens ended up going 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a pair of walks. And the next pitch missed. It's 2-1 now. From Todd Stevens to Matt Phillips. Phillips, Dorrance, and Maestas barring any substitutions. Further for Premier West. 2-1 pitch is flared off, just foul. Right field side, and quickly the count will go to 2-2. Two balls and two strikes. Stevens still looking for that elusive first strikeout. 3 times he's been a pitch away from it. 2-2 pitch. Swung on and just fouled off by Phillips. And the count will hold even at 2-2. Believe it or not, with the Hardhats up 10 runs here, this is a clutch performance here for Stevens to come out and eat some innings so the Hardhats can get their last set of the rotation out tomorrow night. 2-2 pitch once again fouled. And the count will hold even again at 2-2. So while it seems interesting that he'd be brought in, he's actually performing a great service for this Hardhats pitching staff. 2-2 pitch. Swung on, ball's hit right back to him and off of his leg. Charging in from third, Hegre, and he's going to hang on to it. Stevens went down, and he looks to be all right. He's just going to shake it off. An infield single for Matt Phillips, the pinch hitter. And that'll bring up Parker Dorrance. Dorrance with a man on first is 2 for 3. He's hitting 2 consecutive at-bats, both of them singles. He's also struck out. Dorrance now moved over to left field. He started off the game at first base. That's where Jacob Armbrust is now sitting. 1-0 is the count as Dorrance looks at a first pitch ball. Stevens again from the stretch. Here is the 1-0. Breaking ball, called strike. 1-1 to Dorrance. Dorrance with a man on first. No one out here in the top of the 6th. The Hardhats are up 14-4 over Premier West. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Nice off-speed pitch. Breaking ball from Stevens, and it's 1-2. Still looking for that first strikeout. Here is the 1-2 pitch. Swung on, ball's fouled. And the count will hold on at 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes to count. Here to Parker Dorrance. Stevens looking for the K. 1-2 pitch. Swung on, ball's hit high in the air to center field. Connor King charges in. Underneath it, makes the catch, and that'll be out number 1 here in the top of the 6th. Retreating back to first is Phillips, and that'll bring up Josh Maestas, the left fielder turned pitcher for Premier West. I think somebody's shooting off fireworks 2 days early. Unless that is a scheduled firework effect, and I just can't see anything. 1-0 the count to Maestas as he looks at a pitch that misses. Just heard some crackers going off. Here is the 1-0. Now that pitch is upstairs, 2-0 to Stevens' pitching counterpart. We're battling mosquitoes. We're battling awkward sound effects from afar. Late at night. Weird things happen late at night. I'm just saying. Next pitch from Stevens, a called strike at the knees of Maestas. 2-1. And the 2-1 pitch is a breaking ball that doesn't break down, 3-1. And you can see Stevens in his delivery. He's trying to really accentuate that downward motion to get the ball to break. It's just not breaking down enough for him. 3 balls and a strike. And the pitch. High and inside, ball 4. So another walk issued by Stevens. That is his third in relief. It comes with 1 out and pushes men to first and second. That'll bring up Vince LeConte, the third baseman. But he has been pinch hit for Casey Burnt. So number 28, Casey Burnt, will take over for him, a right-handed batter. To pinch hit for LeConte. Quick meeting between Ryan Clapprich, the pitching coordinator, and Ryan Schmidt. Burnt comes in for LeConte, who went 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch. So Burnt now in the ball game. And he looks at a first pitch outside, 1-0. Jacob Armbrust is on deck, the lefty. And here's the 1-0 pitch. Called strike right at the belt of Burnt. 1-1. One ball and 1 strike to count, and the pitch. Called strike on the inside part. 1-2. Stevens once again a pitch away from that elusive strikeout. And here is the 1-2 pitch. Swung on, and the ball's lined into left center field over the head of Bowman, and it drops for a base hit. King comes in, and the runner slips going from third to home, and Ryan Schmidt gets the tag for out number 2. An unfortunate sequence as Phillips, rounding third, slipped and still came in. We didn't think originally King was going to get the throw off, but he did, and that's a crucial second out. So Burnt will get a single. That'll advance Maestas to second. But Phillips coming home, thrown out. And a great throw by Connor King as well. 2 down, and that's going to bring up Jacob Armbrust, the relief pitcher turned first baseman here for Premier West. He looks at a first pitch ball. It starts off 1-0. Armbrust comes into the batting slot of Matt Verdugo, the DH, and looks at ball 2. 2-0. And Verdugo went 0 for 1 with a strikeout and 2 walks. Lefty on righty matchup, batter to pitcher. Here is the 2-0 pitch. Called strike right at the belt of Armbrust, and it's 2-1. Two balls and a strike to count. That was the 50th pitch for Stevens in relief. Here's a 2-1. Pitch is outside. 3-1. 2 outs with men on first and second here for Stevens. And here's the 3-1 pitch. And that's high and away for ball 4. A 4th walk for Stevens in relief. That will load the bases. And it looks like Coach Torvey is going to come out and they're going to pull Todd Stevens. Well, look at this, folks. Todd Stevens ate up an inning in 2/3 for the Hardhats, which I know in a 10-run game where they're on top doesn't seem like much, but you know what? That is very crucial when you look at it, because the Hardhats, it was an extra inning in 2/3 for them to not touch a pitcher from the bullpen. They're bringing Connor King in from center field to pitch. Jace Caldwell's going to go to the outfield as Stevens exits the game. And Jack Sorensen will come defensively to first base. So a couple of changes there. Sorensen's now at first. Caldwell will move to the outfield. Most likely to right. And Connor King comes out of center field to play on the mound. Stevens, by the way, is responsible for the bases loaded, but he did not allow a run in his relief appearance. And he only allowed 3 hits as well in his inning and 2/3 that he pitched. He didn't strike anyone out, but he did walk 4, and he did it on 52 pitches. So now the Hardhats don't have to worry about pulling out a Zach Weitzel or even going to Sorensen. They can keep Sorensen on first where he's standing right now and bring him in relief tomorrow night. So, again, it doesn't look like much, but given the situation of this tournament, that was a very big inning and 2/3 that Todd Stevens ended up eating for the Hardhats. Let's take a look at Connor King's numbers on the mound. King comes in for his 8th appearance of the season. They've all been in relief, and he's averaging just over an inning per appearance because he's at 10 1/3 in his last 7 appearances. He has an ERA of 2.032 with 4 strikeouts to 12 walks on the year. So you'd like to see the control on the opposite side of the spectrum there for King, but again, he only pitches about an inning at a time, and that's really all you need from the Hardhats here in the top of the 6th up 10. If you can hang on for another inning and a third with more than 8 runs as your lead, you're going to win the game. Marcus Burton looks at a first pitch called strike from King, the lefty, and it's 0-1. Bases are loaded for Burton with 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. The Hardhats are up 14-4. And the 0-1's hit right back up the middle. And King is going to sprint over to first and toss it to Sorensen, and that'll do it. My goodness. A nice snag from King, 1-3 to end the threat. And for the 3rd time tonight, Premier West has stranded. The bases loaded. No runs, 2 hits, no errors charged to the Hardhats. Every man left on a bag. And at the end of 5.5 innings, Post 22 still has a 14-4 lead. We'll take a step aside, folks, and we'll be right back with the bottom of the 6th. Ryan Schmidt, Mason Messenger, Connor King, barring any substitution, slated to hit here on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. Post 22 Hardhats baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, by Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. And a reminder to all fans tuning into this broadcast that our annual Dining on the Diamond Spaghetti Dinner is next Monday, the 9th, from 5 to 7 here at the Fitz. It's a free spaghetti dinner for all of our corporate partners and season ticket holders. The guys serve you. I've been over this multiple times. You need to come out. Ryan Schmidt leads off, and he looks at a first pitch ball from Josh Maestas. 1-0 his count. Schmidt's 2 for 3 with an RBI single and a solo home run, and he looks at ball 2 low and away. Schmidt, Messenger, and King slated to hit barring any substitutions from Coach Torvey and company. Bottom of the 6th, the Hardhats up 14-4. And the next pitch to Schmidt is low and away again. It's 3-0. And Otto Jones, the catcher, will have a quick word here with Maestas before throwing a 3-0 pitch to Schmidt. The Hardhats offense blew it open in the bottom of the 2nd. 11 runs, in which they saw 15 batters take swings. Here's a 3-0 to Schmidt, and that's a called strike on the low outside corner. 3-1. 4 home runs in the inning. 3 multi-home runs. As the next pitch is low for ball 4, and Schmidt leads off with a walk here in the bottom of the 6th. Mason Messenger hit his first home run as a Hardhat, a 3-run blast. Matt Heggery, a 2-run bomb, 2 batters after him. 2 batters after him, it was Jack Sorensen leaving the park, and right after Sorensen, Jace Caldwell had a solo shot. Here comes Messenger. First pitch is ripped into right field, That's going to drop for a base hit. Schmidt will hold up at second. And Mason Messenger gets his second hit of the ball game. with an opposite field single. That puts men on first and second, and it'll bring up the center fielder turned pitcher, Connor King. King comes in 1 for 2. Pair of walks, a single, 2 runs scored. And it looks like we're going to have a full-on conference on the mound. Whether this is a pitching change or not, we don't know. Looks like this is just a conference. Unless it is a change. Yeah, coming in from center field is Marcus Burton. And it looks like he's going to come to pitch. And Maestas will go to the dugout. And we'll have another pitching change here for Premier West. Fourth pitcher used for the Cardinals. As Maestas heads to the dugout, gets a new glove, and he will go back to the outfield. Ryan Bachman, by the way, is going to come in and run for Ryan Schmidt. So Maestas will go to the outfield, and Marcus Burton will take over on the mound. Well, Maestas ended up going an inning plus. And in his inning plus, he only allowed 2 hits. He did give up a run that was earned, struck 1 out, and he walked 3. And he did it all on 31 pitches. And now Ryan Bachman again is on the base path for Ryan Schmidt. Now I know the catcher gets a courtesy runner, but if the catcher is substituted later on the base path, does that turn into a pinch runner? We'll have to see. Our official scorer, Thad Caldwell, seems to think that's not the case. We're going to quote his word as gospel here. Obviously just giving him a hard time. But, of course, we'll try and figure out what exactly that does mean. Bachman again out running for Schmidt. Connor King looks at ball 1 against the righty and Marcus Burton, and the next pitch is a called strike at his belt. It'll be 1-1. Bachman on second, Messenger on first. Hardhats up 14-4 here with no outs in the bottom of the 6th. If they plate 5, the game comes to an immediate halt. Burton, the 4th pitcher used for Premier West. Burton, the righty, deals a 1-1. It's upstairs. Off-speed pitch, and it's now 2 balls and a strike to Connor King. King started off at center field. He has since been on the mound. 1 for 2 with a single, pair of walks, pair of runs scored. Here's a 2-1. That misses low and away. 3 balls and a strike now to King. Burton from the stretch. And here's the 3-1. And that's a called strike. Fastball in the outside corner. King thought it was ball 4, was ready to do his patented flip the bat, launch it, but had to hold on to it. Payoff pitch now coming to King. No outs, men on first and second. And the 3-2 is low and away, ball 4, and that will load the bases. That moves Bachman to third, Messenger to second, and it brings up Matt Hegre. Hegre is 2 for 3. 2-run homer, a single, a walk, and a strikeout. He's also come around to score twice. First pitch, low and away. It goes off the catcher, Otto Jones, and everybody's going to hang on at their respective bases. 1-0 the count to Hegre. It looked like for a moment they were going to try and take a chance at the next base. But they held up instead just based on where the ball carried, and then it kind of died when Jones went to go and field it. 1-0 the count here to Hegre. Bases loaded. No one out, bottom of the 6th, and the Hardhats are up 10. They played 5 more, and the game ends. 1-0 pitch, called strike. Fastball on the outside corner. It's 1-1. Bachman on third, Messenger on second, King on first. And here's the 1-1. Just missed low and away. 2-1 to Hegre. Matt Hegre, one of 5 hard hats in this game to send a ball out of the park. And here's the 2-1. That's low and away again. 3 balls and a strike. There is nowhere to put Hegre. Every base is occupied. If the next pitch is ball 4, it'll be a 15-4 Hard Hats lead. 3 balls and a strike the count. And the pitch from Burton. Called strike on the inside part of the plate. And the count goes full. Burt Reddy keeps Hegre in the box for at least one more pitch. Burton from the stretch. And he steps off the rubber. He's going to take some time to think about it. And now time is called as Jones will meet up with Burton here for a bit. 3 balls and a strike. 3 balls and 2 strikes to count, excuse me. It's a full count. No outs. The base is loaded here in the bottom of the 6th. The Hard Hats are up 14-4. The next pitch is ball 4. It'll be 15-4. And Burton's payoff pitch, low and away, ball 4. That'll be an RBI walk to Matt Hegre. And the Hard Hats now have a 15-4 lead as Bachman comes in to score. And Messenger advances to third, King to second. Hegre stands on first. This will bring up the shortstop, Cooper Bowman. Uncharacteristically, somebody in this game that has not gone yard with all the home runs. If he does, the game's over. Hard Hats now have an 11-run lead. If they plate 4 more, that's it. First pitch to Bowman misses low, 1-0. It's crazy. The next 3 batters that Burton's going to face can all leave the yard. Bowman, Sorensen, Caldwell. 1-0, called strike at his belt. Right down the middle, 1-1. Hegre on first, King on second, Messenger on third. Ball and a strike to count to Bowman. And the pitch is low and away. Jones scoops it up. 2-1. Bowman steps back in. Righty on righty matchup here against Burton. 2 balls and a strike is count. And the pitch. Swung on. Ball's lined into center field up the middle. It drops for a base hit. 1 run's going to come in and score, and Connor King is going to slam on the brakes. An RBI single for Cooper Bowman, and the Hard Hat lead is now 16-4. 3 runs away from ending the ball game. Messenger in to score. King to third. Hegre to second. And that'll bring up Jack Sorensen. Sorensen, what a game he's had at the plate. 1 for 2. Reached on an error. 2-run home run. He's been walked twice. He is 1,000 on-base percentage in this game. And his first pitch is a breaking ball up high, 1-0. He has been on base all 4 times he stepped in the batter's box. Here is his 1-0 pitch. And that's outside again, 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes to Sorensen from Marcus Burton, the 4th pitcher used in relief for Premier West. And the 2-0. Inside, called strike on the corner. 2-1. Hard Hats now with the 16-4 lead. 3 more runs come across. Ball game ends. 2-1. Missed low, and it'll be 3-1 now to Sorensen. Still no outs here in the bottom of the 6th. He's a pitch away from an RBI base on balls. That would be his 3rd ribby of the game. And the 3-1. Low and away, ball 4. That's an RBI walk. And the Hard Hats lead is now 17-4. Still no one out here in the bottom of the 6th. King in to score. Hegre to third. Bowman to second. Sorensen on first. Hard Hats now 2 runs away from the win. Jace Caldwell comes up. 3 for 3, a triple shy of the cycle. And his first pitch is low and outside for ball 1, and Otto Jones comes to the mound to talk to Burton. Caldwell had an RBI double in the second, came around. Solo jack in the second. RBI single in the third. Walk in the fifth. Keep in mind, Sorensen all the way down to Messenger in the batting order, batted twice in the second. His 1-0 pitch is outside. It goes to the backstop. King comes home, Hegre comes home and he scores. 18-4 is the Hardhats lead, and if Cooper Bowman crosses, the ball game comes to an end. 2-0 the count here to Caldwell. As Sorensen goes to second, Bowman goes to third. Hegre came in on the wild pitch. 2 balls, no strikes to Caldwell. Anything out of the infield practically, and that's it. Next pitch is upstairs. 3 balls, no strikes to count. First base is open, so a run would not come in. And here's the 3-0. Pitch is swung on, balls hit in left field for a base hit, and that'll end it. Cooper Bowman trots home. He touches, and the Hardhats will take this one in the bottom half of the 6th. 19-4 the final score. They are undefeated, and they have guaranteed themselves a rematch against Wayne Newton post 346 for the Firecracker Tournament 2 nights from now on the 4th of July. Jace Caldwell, 4 for 4, 4 runs batted in, and a walk. Have yourself a night. Post 22 takes the win over Premier West, 19-4. 19 runs on 15 hits with an error for Post 22. 4 runs, 9 hits, 2 errors for Premier West. Folks, we'll take a step aside, and when we come back, we'll give you a brief recap of the game and set the table for tomorrow's action of the 2018 Firecracker Tournament, presented by Camping World. You are listening to Post 22 Hardhats Baseball on ESPN Rapid City and on Hardhats-TV. Post 22 Hardhats Baseball here on ESPN Rapid City is presented by Courtesy Subaru, by Shields, Qdoba Mexican Eats, Renewal by Anderson, Sicky's Garage Burgers and Brews, the Mustang Disaster Cleanup, and the Man Salon. Once again, another game comes to an early end for Post 22 as they take the win 15-run victory in the bottom half of the 6th inning with no outs against the Premier West Cardinals. 19-4 was the final score. This recap's going to be brief because there are 2 moments in this game where this could have been a completely different ball game, and we'll start off as we always do with the first inning. Branson Keelan, the start, goes through a 33-pitch first inning. He gave up a leadoff single to Lance Kelly, registered an out, but then he walked 2 in a row. That loaded the bases for Premier West with 1 out. So there's so many options in play. The RBI walk, the base hit, the sacrifice fly to knock in a run. Keel strikes out the next 2 batters that he sees to strand the runners on all 3 bags and keep it a scoreless affair going into the bottom of the first. Now, granted, the Hardhats didn't get a run in the bottom of the first. They actually went down 1-2-3. But in the second, Keel starts off with a hit batsman. But then he strikes out the next 2 and induces a fly ball to end the inning. You get to the bottom of the second, and this is where the game went crazy. Here is how the inning went. Jack Sorensen reached on an error. Jace Caldwell hit an RBI double to knock him in. Zach Sumption hit an RBI single to knock in Caldwell. Alex Weaver walked. Ryan Schmidt hit a single, an RBI single. And then Mason Messenger launched one over the left field wall for his first career home run as a Hardhat, a 3-run blast to pile on to the lead that the Hardhats had at 6-0. Connor King walks, And then Matt Hegre leaves the yard with the 2-run blast. 8-0 the score. Cooper Bowman walks. Then there's a pitching change. The starter for Premier West, Reed Johnson, only lasted 2 innings, 49 pitches, gave up 2 home runs. So Jacob Armbrust, the lefty, comes in, faces Jack Sorensen, and Sorensen leaves the yard. And all of a sudden, it's a 10-0 lead for the Hardhats. If that wasn't good enough, right after Sorensen comes Jace Caldwell in the order. Still with no outs in the inning, by the way. And Caldwell takes the third pitch he sees, and he launches it over the left field wall. All of a sudden, the Hardhats have an 11-0 lead after the second. They would plate one more in the bottom half of the third on an RBI single from Jace Caldwell, but the inning would end when Jack Sorensen tried to stretch that into a second run. He was thrown out at the plate. So 12-0 is the Hardhats lead coming into the top of the fourth. Premier West takes advantage of some pitching trouble from the Hardhats, and they end up scoring 4 runs against Branson Keel. So now it's a 12-4 lead. We get to the bottom half of the fourth, and that is when Ryan Schmidt decides he wants to join the home run party, and he slams one out of the park, and it's 13-4. And then at the end of the day, the Hardhats, thanks to 5 runs in the bottom half of the sixth and 1 prior to that in the bottom half of the fifth, ended up taking the 15-run win in the bottom of the sixth inning, 19-4 final score for Post 22. Unbelievable turn of events that we saw here once again. A tale of completely 2 different games, and this could have been so much different right off the hop had Premier West cashed in with the runners on all 3 bags. On 3 occasions in this game, including the last 2 innings, Premier West stranded all 3 bases loaded. It was absolutely incredible. They could not find a way to knock in anything when every bag was occupied. And the Hardhats took advantage of that, and some timely offense of their own led them to a big win. Here's the update in the standings now as we come into the final day of pool play tomorrow in the Firecracker Tournament. The Hardhats have guaranteed themselves a rematch against Wayne Newton Post 346 in the championship game on July 4th. That game will be played at 5 o'clock with the Hardhats owning a 4-0 record to Wayne Newton's 3-1 record. The reason that matchup has already been determined is because Rocky Mountain sits at 2-2. If they won tomorrow and Wayne Newton lost, they both have 3-2 records. But earlier today, Wayne Newton beat Rocky Mountain by 2. They hold the head-to-head tiebreaker, so the matchup is guaranteed for the final. I mentioned moments ago Rocky Mountain had a 2-2 record. That puts the Merced Volunteers, the Missoula Mavericks, and the Premier West Cardinals all at 1-3 records. So there are still matchups to be determined for third-place matchup tomorrow and for the last place or fifth place matchup tomorrow. So we'll see what happens in tomorrow's slate of action. Tomorrow's slate of action sees the Missoula Mavericks take on Premier West at 11 in the morning, followed by Wayne Newton Post 346 and the Merced Volunteers out of Merced, California at 3 o'clock. The Hardhats will have the final matchup of the group stage at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. They will take on the Rocky Mountain Lobos, a frequent flyer of this tournament and a frequent hard competitor, head-to-head against the Hardhats. That's how the score sheet reads, folks. That's going to do it for our broadcast tonight. Join us tomorrow just shortly before 7 o'clock. I'll have all your pregame coverage to set the table as the Hardhats close out group play of the 2018 Firecracker Tournament presented by Camping World against the Rocky Mountain Lobos. Thank you again so much for joining us. For all of us with the Post 22 organization, from General Manager Wayne Sullivan down to the head coach Kelvin Torvey and company, as well as our good friends at Halgo Broadcasting and ESPN Radio, Chris Halgo and Ian Rambo. This is Mark Benetti saying so long and good night. We'll see you tomorrow for the final day of pool play in the Firecracker Tournament presented by